My name is Grandads and I'm now 91 years old. I was born in a town called Velzen during the World War II. It lasted for me from 1940 till 1945. I was 10 to 15 years old. My mother had a greengrocer shop opposite our baker shop, and my father was in a delivery company. I had three brothers, older brother and the youngest. I was the youngest, and then we had two older ones, Jaap, myself and Nico. Nico was 1 year older, Jaap was 3 years older. The Germans invaded Holland on the 1st of May 1940, and I was then 10. That was the first time we saw aircraft in the air, and it was blue sky. So we were lying on the grass on the fields of the school, looking at it, and said, look, very high up. And we saw small clouds around the aircraft appearing. We thought they were parachutists, but they were not. They were anti-aircraft fire from the Dutch. And one morning I counted 1,000 bombers. And it's a fantastic view. And they were very high up. You could see all their white stripes in the air, condensation stripes. So they went for miles. So a whole morning you saw them going westwards. They didn't necessarily come the same way back. We all stayed at the primary school until 1943 and then went to the technical school to learn a craft. My two elder brothers became mechanical engineering and I became an electrical engineer. 5 kilometers every day, up, 5 kilometers back. Rain, wind, snow. Didn't make any difference, you had to walk. There were no buses. There was no rail connection because the railways were stopped. We had frequent bombings of the Amuiden harbour and the next door steelworks every 14 days. Our school was in a town with the local harbour. And the local harbour was occupied by the Germans and used for their warships and submarines. It had a U-boat harbour. We knew they were bombing because the German soldiers told us, and they were scared. We were looking out of the windows, top windows, it was 3 up, and looking at the airplanes bombing and the anti-aircraft guns firing on it. And they would ask us from below, what's going on? You know, so we didn't see them as enemies, they were just German soldiers. The radio distribution system we had used a cable from one house to the next and to the next. You had 9 stations you could select, but in the last year of the war we only had 2 stations left. So my mother called in subscription because she said it's no use to us. So we had no radio. So we said, right, drill a small hole, tiny hole into the cable, a very thin nail, and plugged it into the cable, put a wire onto it, connected the wire to our headphone so we could listen to the same station without subscription. That was of course illegal, so they started checking the cable. They had to feel the cable all along the length to where there was an interruption. Quickly pulled out the nail with the wire, but you could see a small hole in the cable. If somebody finds out, we're in trouble. The householder would be responsible for sabotaging the cable. They came around to our house, felt all over the house where the cable, if there was any interruption. But we had put a dead fly on the hole. so they wouldn't see it. But they found out. And then said to my mother, we could report you for that. And you know what the punishment is? Deportation. So my mom begged with them to let it, you know, it was obviously done by the kids and by mistake. It was a severe winter. -14, -15, up to -20 sometimes. And we did do skating. As kids, we had nothing else. We go on the canals and skate.
Sounds like fun.
That was fun, yes, because we went to a canal called the Pipe, connected to the sea.
Oh.
So big ships could go on it too. So if you had a severe winter, you could use it for skating. The Germans basically made an order that all the food production is for the German army. Was daily ration. And it lasted for 3.5, 4 months. So you got rationing, serious rationing. Initially from 1 loaf a week to half a loaf a week per person. And that half a loaf was 50% wheat, 50% flour bulbs. You ground flour bulbs to flour, mixed it with wheat flour, and then bake bread. My mother, and therefore us, were in a good position because we were living only 300 yards, 200 yards at that time from the bakery. As kids, we always went to the bakery at 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening and scrounged around in the bakery, and everything we found, you ate. And the grandfather didn't mind that. Compared with main towns, we were relatively well off. We were in the countryside. We were near the farmers. We were near the food supplies. People living in Haarlem and Amsterdam had to walk much further, miles, 20, 30 miles more than us. We all made up stories in the house. When the war finishes, I'm going to have bananas every day. I'm going to have oranges every day. We didn't even know what bananas were anymore. It was just a Fata Morgana, you know, a dream world. Overall, the total during the war who died from starvation in Holland was 100,000.
So when did the Canadians liberate Northern Holland, and what was it like?
They liberated Northern Holland after the Germans capitulated. That was end of April of 1945. Canadians came in lorries. The Germans walked out. The Canadians came by lorry. Yes, initially they did give chocolate, cigarettes, biscuits. This is the photograph of my family. Nicholas, Jaap, my mother, and me. The festivities and the flag in front of the house. It was marvelous. You had a whole street with tables set up with cakes and drinks and so on. Flags out, dancing. It was euphoria, as it is called. Euphoria.